Hey, how's it going, everybody? Joined but with my friend Neil. And today we have a really exciting live stream today. So we're going to kind of get right into it. We're going to share some of the days real briefly and then bring on the main event, which is an interview with perfumer Michael Salazar. So appreciate it. I see we got 5 here in the first 17 seconds. So it's awesome. Just come in, hit the like button, drop your son of the day in the chat. Today I am wearing Zaharoff Signature Royale X. This is just a classic men's fragrance with a little bit of a twist with like a cumin kind of funkiness. There's some oud in this too, I think. Well, I don't know. That could be a whole different conversation. But the notes say oud. I see Michael smirking in the back. Yeah. So anyway, good fragrance. I like it. I wore it to work about 6 sprays. It lasted most of the day. It's not offensive at all. It's familiar if you've smelled men's fragrances of yesteryear sort of thing, or the 80s and 90s. It's definitely familiar, but really good, and I enjoy wearing it. Neil, I'll hand it off to you with that for the sake of time.
My scent today was Habdan. Just got this in a couple days ago, 2 days ago. Habdan is ambery, woody, kind of sweet, kind of in the same vein as like Owajan, Angel Share, and stuff like that. I think it's just got a little bit more. It's got a little bit more nuance to it than both of those other two, and that's kind of why I kind of gravitate to it more. I get great longevity out of it. I sprayed it on this morning on my skin, and 3 on my skin and 2 on my shirt, and I can still smell it. So I don't know what other people are talking about saying that doesn't have longevity. They're just going nose blind. That was my scent of the day.
Do you think it's your favorite Parfums of Marley?
No, it's definitely not my favorite Parfums. It's still Leighton is still my favorite. Sorry.
Oh man,
Leighton's still my favorite.
I don't know. You know how I feel about Leighton.
Yeah, I know how
All
you
right.
feel about Leighton.
Let's I want to acknowledge everyone in the chat. Joel, I see you wearing Gritty and Talia. I've never heard of that one. I know I'm familiar with Gritty, but I've never smelled that. Good to see you. Saga's in here wearing Burberry Goddess. I've never smelled it, but I'm sure it smells great. Aloha peeps. Blaine is in the chat. Good to see you, Blaine. Appreciate you being here. What are you wearing today? Drop it down below. Rana's in here. I think Rana's sister Jordan's in here. Everyone's in here. So I guess, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Ready. All right. So drum roll, please. We're going to bring on the main event, bring in our guests. Oh, Rana's wearing, I think that's supposed to say Escada by Brisa. No, I think it's Brisa Cubano by Escada. She got it at Ross the other day. It smells nice. You almost got me with that one. Nice. That's like Chronic Macerator. Cafe yep. Fiesta. Oh, all right. Forgot about that. Son of the day, Mancera Amor Cafe. Mo's in the chat. Soul of the Forest. I've never heard of that. All right. Well, I want to make the best use of this time, so I'm going to bring in our guest. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Michael Salazar. Hey, Michael. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. So, are you wearing anything today? You got a son of the day you want to share?
Yeah. So one of the atars that I've been working on, I put on today. I don't have it with me to show, but yeah, it's a really nice. It's called Oud Blanc. It's like gardenia, jasmine, tuberose, and some really skanky, nasty oud. So just my type of thing.
That sounds
How many compliments did you get?
None. I don't care.
Exactly.
I compliment myself every day. That's the only one that matters.
There you go.
You ever see that meme?
Hi.
You ever see that meme with the lady sitting next to on a bench, and she's like, "I love my stinky oud," and there's a biker guy sitting around. What the heck stinks around here?
It smells like shit.
Yeah, and then there are 2 other people that are like, "Why this biker smells?"
That's
this old lady. Yeah, no, I'll wear oud to the gym. I don't care if I like it. I'll wear it.
Listen, and you called me a menace.
I'm a menace to society. I say that all the time. I don't care. I'll wear 20 sprays of Ombre Nomad to the gym.
Ooh, jeez.
I'll have it to myself. Just
the one time Neil wore, I think, 7 or 8 sprays of Musk Ravageur on the treadmill. Yeah.
I was
and then
for some
strange reason,
away.
Yeah, she went away. Who knows why? I don't know.
I'm surprised they didn't kick me out. I mean, I'm surprised that they just let me stay there and just wreak havoc on a gym smelling like that. I don't know. I thought it was fun.
That's funny. I've seen it before where people are like, "Who's wearing off 9 p.m. or Ultramall to the gym?"
Yeah.
But
I mean,
like honestly, anyone that's not like I hate using the term frag hound, but like anyone that's not like in the know of this stuff and they just wear it to smell good, they don't know about like what's appropriate,
yeah.
really. I mean, or it really just doesn't. They don't care. It doesn't matter. Which
Yeah.
I get both lines of thinking. So anyway, so we have a whole Q&A that we want to go through with you, and kind of wanted to maximize the time with you. And last week we went through the Discovery set, and I was pleasantly surprised. I know I had kind of a shaky start with some of the discontinued stuff. I need to go back and revisit it, but there's some here. Like I said, we talked to him yesterday, and I was smelling the Far Dry Down. I still have these strips, and it's crazy how much your stuff changes on the fucking test strip. And like, what people always talk about, like, oh, like don't trust the blotter card, trust your skin, right? Which I totally resonate with.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever had like a fragrance line literally change so much on the strip over the course of a week. And I still smell it. So that's really cool. And I need to give these some full wearings, but I'll use that to segue into, I guess, if I want to start, you want me to go first, Neil? So
For sure.
one of my questions. All right. So on this channel, I like niche fragrances. That's kind of no secret. I'm like the niche snob, I fear, which is kind of a meme. And I like trying and sampling all kinds of different stuff. Neil's been kind enough to like procure the sample box, and that's kind of what we've been doing with these live streams.
Yeah.
What I want to know is who's Aromas de Salazar for, and what makes you different? Like who should try out your stuff?
For people who are bored of the mainstream, like you see, I don't know. That's what got me into it, was that just I was tired of every other bergamot, rose, sandalwood fragrance, especially these niche brands that are so expensive coming out with these. I mean, niche perfumery used to be something daring, something, actual quality, something that was against the grain. Designers are meant to be mass appealing and
Right.
liked by everybody, but now niche companies are just following that same directive.
Right.
So I make perfumes for the people who want to go completely against that, and try and bring back some tradition of what perfumery should and could be, with the use of actual natural materials. And that's why things are so complex, because they have a lot of natural materials, and those natural materials are comprised of a lot of stuff that's just in them naturally. So I'm not in the business of mass appealing. I'm in the business of making the best thing I can with the best materials I can, and actually mean it compared to these other brands.
Right. I'm sure that could be a whole live stream in itself, but we definitely appreciate that. And I think maybe that transitions into one of Neil's questions, right?
It does.
So,
one of my questions is, what's a trend right now that you don't agree with, and what would be one you do agree with?
Probably the elixirs. It's just, I don't know. Like, I get it, but at the same time, it's just so one brand does it, and then everybody else jumps on top of it. And
Chanel and Dior do it, and then oh my god,
literally everybody. And the whole Dior Sauvage Eau Forte, the water one, by Rado did it. There's a couple other brands that did it also. I'm sure there's others that are working on doing it now. I hate trends, just in general. I see a lot of things. So the last year or two, there's been a lot of sexual things, like vanilla sex.
Yeah. I'm bored.
Yeah. All these different brands that come out with something like that. So I decided to make my own, it just as a funny thing to do. I called it, "Are We Fucking or What?" And it's just weird. It's kind of like, how you've seen a Toscovat, they have priest clothes and credit cards. Mine was human sweat, whiskey, Coke, leather straps, handcuffs, and neroli. I mean, the trend I can get behind is the fact that indie brands are now starting to become more known, just because of the fact of, social media. I don't have to, pay $5 million a year to have my stuff out there. It's a lot more accessible. So I feel like indie brands and smaller brands are now starting to become more prominent and prevalent. And you'll never see a brand like mine in somewhere like Neiman Marcus or
Right.
JC Penney's, just because they're owned by the conglomerates. But just the fact that other people are able to explore us and actually get to know brands like mine, it's just really cool. So that's something I hope will continue, and people will start to look and see, that these designer brands, these niche brands, they say all these different things, but it's not really true, and it's just a bunch of marketing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. I mean, I tell people, if you see an oud tobacco rose fragrance and it's completely clear, there's no real oud rose or tobacco in it, like, which is fine. But I mean, I feel like it's just fake. But I'm also very jaded because now I actually know what goes into perfumes. So it's like, I don't ever want to spend like $600 on a Louis Vuitton because I know it probably costs like $6 to make.
That's what I was going to say is it makes you kind of cynical because then what's in it. It's like, and they're still charging as though they have the real thing in it.
Yeah.
So it just is kind of
it's a marketing
predatory
as
almost.
I mean, it's hard because, with those companies, it's different. For me, I just work myself. I mean, I have people that do other things for me, but I'm doing all the work myself.
Yeah.
But they have like marketing. They actually have to pay for all their ads. Their employees, their warehouses, they have to pay to have all the stuff, because I make a gallon at a time, which is a lot of perfume, but they probably make like 1,000 gallons or 10,000 gallons at a time. Yeah. So it's an investment. So they have different costs and things. So really, the perfume is actually probably the cheapest thing that they have to pay for to do. It's everything else that costs a lot of money. I mean, all their overhead, that's really what goes into it. So like, I get it, but at the same time, like, I don't see it. I don't see Clyde Christian being worth $600 or,
no.
Especially because it's pretty common for prices to rise or raise every 6 to 12 months, about 5%. So I remember when I could buy a bottle of Creed Aventus, on just the whatever market for like $250. Now you see them for like $570, almost $600 for 100 mils, and it's just like
it's out of control,
crazy.
Yeah,
it's totally not worth that. Buy discounters, buy on Facebook groups.
I mean, even at discounters, like those kinds of. I mean, it's always oud fragrances that I see. It pisses me off when I see a fragrance that says it's oud and it just does not look like anything. I mean, like this is
Oud Boreal.
This is Borneo oud. It's literally pitch black. Like
that, yeah.
It's not going to be clear when you make it. I mean, this is a coconut accord I made. This is even like dark brown. So it's yeah. So I mean, it just gives you an idea. But again, it's not fair to say all of that. But I mean, people who don't really like oud or like tobacco, that's where those accords kind of come in. And people always also talk about other things like animalics. They don't want to support killing animals and things like that to support your perfume. But I get
it's all accords now, isn't it? Like, isn't that stuff all restricted for the most part?
Essentially, there are like the big fragrance houses. They create bases, what we call them. So like it's like a one material thing. You don't even have to make your own accord. You could just use that. I prefer to make my own accords if I'm doing that because I have more control over what it is. Because I don't know what the hell is really in it. I just know how it smells. Yeah. But what's going into it, how does it react with everything? I have no clue. So that's one thing that I do. But yeah, I just prefer to just use the real thing. And that's kind of been my mission the whole time is if I can find it and use it in real form, I'll use it that way. I do a lot of tincturing. I started off doing a lot of tincturing. Now I make like kind of some of my own absolutes and concentrates. Like the vanilla one takes like a year to make and then it all gets used up. So it's like I need to start making more. Wow. But it's all that experimenting. I've had real ambergris. I've tasted it. It tastes kind of weird. Not gonna lie. It used to be medicine. I mean,
wow, really?
Yeah, they used to think it cured autism and headaches. Come on, we're talking about like ancient Egyptians or like Native Americans.
Got it.
Deer musk, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, those things I can get behind. But the animalics that I procure are usually through ethical sources. So my Castoreum and Civet come from a guy in Canada. He has a license to obtain specific amounts. The beavers, which are what Castoreum comes from, is they're an invasive species, and there's no actual animals out there to control the population. So that's why they allow them to do that. So I try and be as sustainable and ethical as possible. I don't plan. I have one fragrance that uses deer musk for my new upcoming vintage collection, but I'm only going to do it for that one batch. It's not something I'm going to continually do. It's very expensive. It's very hard to get. It's just not worth it. But I just wanted to explore what it has to offer on the side of perfumery itself. So it's cool having been able to acquire some of that stuff at least.
Cool. Well, I guess that, I mean, I'm looking at Neil's questions a little bit. You kind of touched on it, but I guess we'll just ask the question now.
Sure.
And you kind of answered it, but like the philosophy of your brand of the naturals, right? Trying to hone in and use as much naturals as possible just to keep it different. So do you want to elaborate more on that?
Yeah. So the way modern perfumery works, again, with these niche and designer brands, they use essentially mostly just synthetic materials, aroma chemicals, which again, I'm not saying is bad. There's a room for them, but then they'll use like maybe like less than 1% of a natural material. So I tell people I do it the other way. I do mostly naturals, and then I use the aroma chemicals and synthetics to support those natural materials. Because if you look at something like tuberose, a tuberose absolute is rather faint and dense, and it doesn't really have like that floral smell we call bouquet, or it's not very bright. So you can create an accord using a lot of the tuberose absolute as the base, and then add a little bit of aldehydes or something bright, like even some bergamot, just to toss it in there to kind of bring life back to it. So that's kind of the way I use them. And then there's things like citruses, lemon has a lot of stuff it has to offer. Rose and jasmine are used pretty much constantly. So
yes, I love jasmine.
And I get why some of these big brands don't use it. It's an investment. I mean, like I think I was telling you guys last night when I chatted with you for a little bit, creating oud is my love language. It's an investment. It cost about $60,000 for me to just produce a gallon of that fragrance. It's 50 mils.
That's insane.
Imagine doing that on a scale of like 50,000 bottles. Like you're talking about millions of dollars just to produce it.
Yeah.
So there has to be a fine line between, producing and like how much it costs. I don't know. It's tough. And that's probably one of the hardest things I've had to do, because I want to create quality fragrance, but I also want it to be, I'm not trying to charge, Insar Oud, prices. I'm not trying to charge $1,500 for a 15 of something. That's kind of where, oud is my love language kind of came in. Just the fact that I was like, oh, okay, well, this is super quality oud and, actual fragrance. Let's see if there's a market for people who purchase my stuff. And, if there is, there is. If not, I mean, I didn't make a gallon of it. I made about 1 liter of it. So, a lot of it didn't sell, but that's fine. I love the hell out of it. I'm going to wear it myself. You guys missed out.
Kind of brings me to my next question that I wanted to ask, which was, what's the hardest material that you've worked with in terms of just getting it to work within the formula?
One thing that I struggled with in the beginning for a very long time was aldehydes. So aldehyde is, like when you hear aldehydic, I mean, think like laundry soap, but it's so much more than that, because there's aldehydes C6 all the way to C12.
Okay.
You'll hear about C14, 16, 18, but they're not actually aldehydes. But C6, C7, C8, C9, those are all very waxy. They're very dry. They're very just aldehydic. It's hard to explain. And then aldehyde C10 is a very citrusy, waxy smell. And then C11 is kind of that way. And then C12, that's kind of when you start going into the realm of like laundry soap. You have your Loric version and your M&A version, which it's hard to figure those out. But after learning how to actually study the materials, it became quite easy. But it's really easy to overdose those kinds of materials on accident and just destroy everything you were just working on.
So isn't that what Chanel No. 5 was? It was an overdose of aldehydes. It was like the happy accident sort of thing.
I mean, there's a lot of happy accidents in perfumery. Aldehydes were discovered pretty early. It's a lot of chemists and pharmaceuticals were the backbone of aroma chemicals because their structures are so stable. Mm-hmm. So you take something like benzaldehyde, which smells like almonds, and you can pretty much make that into any drug that you want. It's such a strong base to start at. Well, now they have all kinds of other things you can start from there, but back then that's what they did. But aldehydes, I don't know. It's really interesting, but yeah, it started around the early 1900s. But that was one of the first ones. It's not the very first one, but it is one of the first like famous kind of like aldehydic perfumes that came out. So,
But when I think about that one and what I have heard about aldehydes, and you correct me or tell me which one, because there's different versions, right? That you said C10, all these other ones.
yeah.
I feel like one of the main things that people talk about is like the effervescence that they can give off. Is that correct? Is that something else that's giving that like tingly, sparkling sort of feel, or can that be attributed to aldehydes?
So I mean, it definitely can. I don't know if you guys ever did you ever try my Cola Oud fragrance? Did you try that by chance?
I have it right over here, just out of arm's reach.
So that was probably the hardest part for me, was getting that fizzy aspect to it. So what gave it the fizziness for me was it was allylamyl glycolate, which is basically like a really metallic pineapple smell. It's a very classic material. Benzaldehyde, which is almondy, some aldehyde C10, and menthol was kind of what I used. So menthol crystals. So, you know, like when you brush your teeth and then you drink a little bit of water and you have like that feeling in your mouth, that's the feeling I want in your nose. That's what attributes to the fizzy smell. Just there's really nothing fizzy about it. It's just a perception.
Yeah.
And I have a champagne accord that I created for this brand that I got commissioned from. And it's really interesting because champagne's mostly rosy. So I kind of attributed all those things again, the aldehyde, the allylamyl glycolate, and the benzaldehyde, but with rosy materials like phenylethyl alcohol and rose absolute. And it's like, boom, now you have champagne.
That's really cool.
It's perfumery is never just like usually one thing. It's not like one magic material to do all of these things. It usually takes a plethora, or, you know, maybe two or three, depending on what it is. I mean, like, you know, for Cola Accord, you could get one just using labdanum, vanillin, and that's it. That's all you need to get like a very basic one. And then you kind of grow from there.
Huh.
But yeah, it's usually never just one. I mean, if you were to smell aldehyde C10 by itself, you'd be like, this does not smell fizzy. It smells just absolutely.
It's how it plays with the other molecules that you combine with it that gives it that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I say there's function, and then there's smell. So some things have function and some things have smell, and they all can be one or the other. So that's what's really kind of interesting about perfume materials in general. You know, if I use jasmine at 50% of the formula, it's going to smell like jasmine, right? That only makes sense. But if I use it at like 1%, it kind of brings a softness, a muskiness, kind of brings like a nice floral feel. So
it's like the background, like you can feel it, but you can't like place it.
Yeah, so it's not technically a note, but it will help. Like you see a lot of something called cypriol, which is Nagamortha is what it's called.
Like green, right?
It's a root kind of thing. It's like no, I'm pretty sure it's like a root or like a grass, kind of like vetiver is. Okay. But it's used a lot in woody material and woody fragrances. So in modern perfumery, for oud notes, usually they'll use cypriol and black pepper, and that's how you can get a very basic, easy like oud note or oud.
One just came to mind that I think that is the case. Frederick Malle Promise.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't work for them. I don't know what they do or put into it, but just from smelling it myself, it smells like it's more quality, but I don't really think that they use a substantial amount, if any at all, of real oud. Just like Ombre Nomad or, Oud for Greatness has zero real oud in it. I mean, it's, don't get me started on that.
I guess I want to ask a real question, but you have my curiosity piqued about like this ratio of aroma chemicals to naturals and all of that. Mm-hmm. You obviously try and have as much naturals to aroma chemicals as possible. What do you think? Like, call it I don't know, a standard niche brand. We'll call it Xerjoff or something. What do you think the ratio or the percentages of aroma chemicals to naturals is? How far gone are we?
I'd say less than 5% natural. Oh, probably closer to 1 or 2% is what they go for.
That's insane.
Probably around that. But, people always say, oh, niche fragrances are a lot, more quality than designer brands. But it's not that it's quality. It's just that niche brands typically have more money to put into a fragrance because they're going to charge more for it. Yep. So they have access to better materials, aroma chemicals, and also things called captive materials. So like Firmenich, for instance, they have their own molecules that they created that nobody else can use, and it's only available there. stuff I can't even get, or no other brand can get. You have to work and be a perfumer there to actually have them.
That's crazy.
Or something like ambroxanide, which is it's like ambroxan, but it's a much drier ambery. It's more expensive, so most designer brands will use ambroxan, but not ambroxanide. So that's where you'll see the difference between like something like Sauvage and Ombre Nomad. Sauvage has ambroxan, Ombre Nomad has ambroxanide. So it's kind of just that little bit of a difference. So it's not like they're using real oud or real florals. They just have a higher capacity and availability of other materials to use.
That's interesting. Because I know that, I mean, like you said, there's a different flavor fragrance houses, whatever, and they all have their proprietary stuff. Like, I think what's the one for Zaharoff? Mon? And like I'm thinking of Precious
Mon.
Treasure, Neil.
Yeah.
Like there's the was it Orchinox is like their version of ambroxan or something. So there's
I mean, there's Amberfix, Ambrox DL, Ambroxan. There's all kinds of different ones. Ambrox Super. They technically are the same thing though. But if you were to use Ambroxan, I mean, it's like going to the grocery store and buying Tylenol.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's it's paracetamol is really what it is, but it's their name for it. So, I mean, it's all the same thing. I've tried all the different like Ambroxes. They're essentially all the same thing. There might be a very minute difference, but it's all kind of the same thing.
Like a majority of people wouldn't even be able to tell the difference.
I mean, the person smelling the fragrance, especially, just like as a whole, probably not. Honestly, probably not even a little bit. You'd have to smell all them individually over like a period of time to get to know like what is actually happening. So, I don't know.
I see everyone in the chat. I appreciate you guys being here. I want to highlight John C. Welcome, John C. I appreciate you being here. Let's not forget Akigawa wood. Yes, Quentin Beach's favorite note.
It's just a synthetic base for an oud note. That's really all it is.
Is it?
But it is a captive note. You'll see that. There's paradisone, mahoniol, and there's a lot of things that are constantly just discontinued, so you can't even use anymore.
I had heard, I think it was, and listen, this is not claiming to be an expert or anything. I heard from the perfume guy, Sebastian. I think he said like the Akigawa wood was some like derivation of patchouli. Is that even right?
I mean, patchouli is a big part of like
an accord for
oud. Yeah. Okay. So I don't even think they use real patchouli anyway. They probably use like patchoulol or patchouli hexanol or something. But I don't think it's supposed to be just oud, but that's mostly like its main like target when they make Akigawa wood. I've never smelled it by itself. I don't have access to it. I just know from like what I read, because you can go onto like the Firmenich website and actually look up these things and read them. But that's mostly what it's targeted towards, is that kind of a note.
Huh. That makes me think I have of an entirely different question of like aroma molecules, and I guess I'll ask it. So there's aroma molecules, and there's from like a cost savings perspective of we don't want to, go for the real thing that has these same aroma molecules in it and a naturally occurring substance. And there could also be maybe something where it's like, this isn't a naturally occurring thing, but we want this effect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I lost my train of thought. Let's go back to that one. I had a good point, something I wanted to ask with that, but
I mean, you typically have your basic chemical, formula that every fragrance has. And again, I think I told you guys before, it's like, you look on the back of the box, it shows the ingredients. You'll always see typically the same thing. You'll see citral, limonene, all kinds of Boleasin is starting his medicine. Okay, well, we'll have to talk about that off camera.
Methylphenidate, everybody.
But yeah, I forgot. I lost my train of thought now too. Well, no, not that. I don't care about you. He's off screen. Damn it. I forgot. We're going to have to go back to, I don't know. Neil, you got to take over. We're losing our minds.
Yeah. All right. My question.
Save us, Neil. Reel back in.
My favorite fragrance of yours is probably the most popular fragrance of yours, which is Blueberry Morning. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of curious to get your like inspiration behind it itself.
So one of my first things I wanted to do when I started making perfume, just like when it was a hobby, was creating fruit accords. because you can't make like a fruit absolute like blueberry or pineapple or anything like that. So I tried to make something realistic. So I remember I probably researched for about a month, different materials, different things, and how to make it. And it's interesting. You kind of like have this aha moment, like you're like, oh shit, like I did it, like that's it. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. It smells like I want it to smell, so it works for me. So I had at that time I had done cherry, which was my first kind of like real like perfume like accord that I actually produced. Pomegranate was one that I'd always wanted to do, but blueberry kind of came in the background because I thought there's not many blueberry perfumes out there.
Right.
I think at the time it was like Poets of Berlin and like maybe like whatever that Bond number 9
There's a
one
Bond
is.
number 9 one. Yeah.
It doesn't even smell anything like blueberry. So I didn't. I had tried them and I really got nothing out of any of them for blueberry. So I'm like, I want to try it. Let's see. There's no like blueberry forward fragrance, so I wanted to give it a try. And I had started really getting into oud at the time, so I said, okay, blueberry and oud, let's do it. Why not? And then I had just created a saffron concentrate with a bunch of saffron I had imported from Iran. So I was like, I like saffron and oud together. There's blueberry. I was like, I always try to use florals to bridge my top and bottom notes. And I'm like, let's do gardenia. Like I started getting into gardenia because I had probably like 50 florals at that time. But I was like, I like the white floral smell with it. And gardenia has like this tropical, a little bit of like a milky smell to it. And blueberry morning was created.
It's interesting because like when I was growing up, I used to have a blueberry bush in my backyard, and it captures so much of what that bush smelt like.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people don't understand about blueberries themselves is they are floral in nature because they're kind of the flower that turns then into.
Oh yeah, that's every fruit and citrus though. It's a flower before it turns into whatever it's supposed to. I mean, it's like orange blossom. If you don't pick it, it turns into an orange.
Yeah, and that's what I found was great about blueberry morning in particular, was because it not only you got the smell of blueberry, but the florals were there supporting it in such a manner that it was like it was very realistic to me as far as sparking a memory in my head of being in my backyard and being like going up to the blueberry bush and just picking off a couple of blueberries and smelling the blueberry bush itself and looking forward to like the summertime when I could just go into the backyard and get some of them myself.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, the cool thing about it though is that it's actually two separate blueberry accords that combine to create that singular blueberry note. So in perfumery in the industry, we call something a fantasy note. So like all fruit notes are essentially fantasy notes because you can't extract cherry. I can't sit there and tincture maraschino cherries and then get a cherry smell. So it's made up. So that's what really blueberry is two fantasy accords. So the first fantasy accord is a more realistic tart sour version of a blueberry. And then on the other side, you have something more along the lines of, like I say, like cotton candy. Like it's a very sweet, like just kind of like a different side of it. So I combine them together in a specific ratio to create that one singular. And I find that those two together in that ratio create that actual realistic note of blueberry. So it's so if you think about it, there's probably about 70 materials that go into just make that one blueberry note itself.
It's impressive.
That's mind-boggling. That's crazy. I want to bring up John's comment about the whole aroma chemical versus naturals. Just the scale, right? We talked about the 1 gallon versus 10,000 gallons thing. So there's probably some validity to that, but I mean, I don't know. It's just different realm.
Oud being produced it's not produced at a large scale. I'm in contact and get some of my stuff directly from distillers. There's a distiller and a village in Bangladesh that I buy my oud from. They've been doing it for centuries, if not a millennia. They only do it maybe like a kilo at a time. So, you would need a substantial amount. Plus, there's nobody producing, 100,000 kilos of something like this. The trees have to be grown for like 20 to 50 years, and then they have to be nailed. So it's just, I get that some of these things are not realistic for those kinds of brands, but still, it doesn't mean you can charge the prices as if it is real.
So I saw something interesting now that you bring that up. I think it was Ajmal in India. They had like a whole like a compound, like just like a
Yeah.
agarwood tree like facility. I saw it because Cecile Zerokin was there, and I followed her, and I was looking at her Instagram story, and it was like armed guards, just like madness. So it seems like that maybe is some of the place that they source some of this stuff from, but I don't know. I mean, there's levels to everything, so I don't know how their different variants and grades of oud, if you will, are
Yeah,
produced.
there
And if
are
it's
definitely. Remember, I shared a link with you about oud, about the whole oud trade. You should recheck
I
that
have
out
to
again.
check it out again.
Yeah,
I
But
mean,
it's a fascinating like
spurred that
documentary,
memory.
British documentary about
oud
how
really is a fascinating material itself, and once you learn about it, you understand why it costs so much. Because, like I said, the tree has to be at least 20 to 50 years old typically. It has to be growing for 20 years. So if you plant it now, you don't get your oud for another 2 decades, and maybe even 4 or 5. And then, so in nature, something would scratch it, or a bug would burrow into it.
Right.
And that's where it would create its defense mechanism, which is the resin. Then it has to sit like that for like another maybe 10 years, 5 or 10 years. And then you can cut it down. And then you have to just really slowly just chip away all of the what they call heartwood. And that's like the white oud. And then that's when you're left with the actual chips itself. And so it takes about, I think, 25 or 2,500 or 25, sorry, I think it's 25 kilos of the oud shredded up and distilled to make about, I think, 10 or 20 grams of oud oil. So it's not a lot. It's very time consuming. It's very expensive to produce these things. But what really gives oud its nature is the fermentation process. So after they grind it, they will ferment it in water. They'll let it soak for sometimes a week to sometimes 4 weeks or longer. The longer it ferments, the more skanky and barnyard it gets that smell. That's why you never see Chinese food really with a lot of skankiness, because it's not within their tradition to ferment it. They will grind it and immediately just distill it. But then Indian oud, or also Bangladesh, South Vietnam, those are kind of where you're getting a lot of the fermented smells to it. So it's because if you smelled any of like the burned wood, I have a bunch of oud chips from all over the place that I've procured. They all smell pretty close to the same thing. I mean, it's all good. I mean, I love it. Like I have a quinam, a sinking quinam oud. So sinking means that it's full of resin and it sinks to the bottom. So if you get floating, it doesn't have as much resin as like a sinking does. So like it literally, when you put it on the bakur and you put it on the charcoal, it's literally like bubbling and boiling all like, the resin off of it. So it has a good smell, but it's a very sweet, woody, resinous smell. It's not like when you get like a barnyard smell. You don't get that from burning wood, the actual wood itself. You'll never get that because there's no fermentation. So it's just an interesting aspect of just what that is. But again, it's I don't think it'd be sustainable for a brand like, PDM or, even Amouage. I'm sure Amouage uses some form of it, actual real stuff. Because of where they are, they probably have a source where they can use some. Now, do they use a lot of it? I don't know. Probably not, just because, again, it's expensive. But they have access to distillers and people where they are. That probably would give me more of an idea than, Louis Vuitton in France, So it's just all, who knows? But again, it always comes down to the color. Like oud satin mood, I think is purple. Like the fragrance itself is purple. There's no purple materials, so it's like they're dyeing it those colors. The Guerlains, those are all dyed pink and green, and I don't know. So that's not natural.
You brought up the sinking oud. I'm just kind of curious. So how much did that cost you? That piece of oud?
So I bought a quarter kilo, I think, for about $400.
And that seems like pretty cheap from what I've seen from other places too. Because I've seen like in the documentary, the guy had a chunk like this big, and he was saying that this piece of like really high quality oud was probably worth like $10,000, $15,000.
I mean,
and this video was like 10 years old.
From the producers that they can price whatever they want. There's no law it says they can do.
Supply and demand, right?
It's exactly what it is. And when you go to like these distillers directly, they will typically give you a better deal because you're buying wholesale rather than, I just want like a Tola, which is 12 grams. No, I want like a kilo, which is a much better price. Obviously, it'll be more expensive as a whole, but the price per gram is going to be a lot cheaper than if you bought it 12 at a time. But it just depends on who you get it from. But I made it my mission to find the people directly that produce these things and to buy directly from them, because most places will just cut them out. And, they've been doing it for centuries, and, they barely make anything off of it compared to what, these other
These
brands.
distributors are marking it up for and all of that.
Oh yeah, there's like a huge like upsale or markup for them. So it sucks that they get to miss all that out. Plus, I mean, it's quality. I mean, I know the people that are distilling the oud. I mean, I know what they're doing right now. I know what trees they're doing it to. Patchouli, I get it from a company in Indonesia, and they age it themselves in oak barrels. So it's really cool to be able to have access to those kinds of things. But,
so that's what you're getting with Aromas de Salazar. Anyone that's watching this, that's really cool.
I mean, I hope to be able to travel there. I mean, I've been invited to Bangladesh, to India, to Taiwan, to Indonesia. I mean, that'd be so cool just to like get over there at some point and like actually see, what
Do it, yeah.
show people this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
I should be selling my fragrances for like 10 to 20 times more. But again, it's about access, and eventually prices will raise, but that's as we grow, once you get distribution. But yeah, so I just want people to understand how much quality goes into it, and how much work goes into making sure that these things are truly quality, rather than, just a lie from Mr. Roja himself.
We should probably transition to start talking about like your next thing. For sure.
Oh, I was like, to talk about Roja, let's do it.
Yeah.
We could.
It's a whole other live stream there, my friend.
Yes, we'll bring it back for that one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just to end that off, I feel like I'm usually a content consumer, not really I'm not a great YouTuber, but I enjoy doing this because I made a lot of this opportunity. But I feel like I am learning so much. Obviously, I'm trying to be a sponge and soak in as much as I can, but I feel like we're all learning so much. I see Angel's in here. He wanted to know, are your fragrances unisex?
I don't really believe in the whole masculine feminine thing, so I always market them as unisex. Of course, it's up to the smeller, the person consuming it, whether they feel it is or not.
Right.
But I market all of mine as unisex. So I feel like roses aren't just for women, and woody spicy things aren't just for men.
Yeah,
it can go either way. But yeah, so I market them as unisex.
Angel, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Sample. I do not say blind buy anything from any brand, especially mine, because they're so different. I would, we have sample sets. There are places you can go to actually purchase singular samples that I work with. So there's a lot of options out there. We even have a 15 ml option if you're just really dead set on not wanting a sample and not wanting a full bottle. There's something for you, the in-between people. Yeah. Oh, there you go. See, there you go. Discovery set and 15 ml bottles.
Right on cue.
All
All right. So we'll let you transition. So is there something that you're particularly excited for people to get to smell?
I mean, just, I was always about just coming out with new things all the time. And, a lot of people now, you look at things like Vanilla Fantasy, Cola Oud, those are the most wanted things, and now it's not available. So I'm trying to really slow stuff down. I really just want people to experience what we have to offer, like as we speak. Just whatever's there. Basically, the what we call the Heritage Collection is what that Discovery set is. There's just so much really good and cool stuff in there. There's something for everybody. So I want people to just start, just testing us out and giving us a try at least. Yeah. But the Vintage Collection is coming out hopefully in July. What is it, May? So pushing it kind of close. But so the Vintage Collection is based off of different fragrances that came out in that time period. So like 1872 is when the first leather fragrance came out, Cuir de Russie by Guerlain. Now, these aren't clones of those fragrances. They're just the inspiration of the year behind those. So like 1921 is when Chanel No. 5 came out. So it's my version of a floral aldehydic. Okay. But what I'm trying to do is bring back more of the tradition of those fragrances by using a lot of by trying to put myself in the mind of those perfumers and actually limiting myself to what I can use in the perfume. So I wasn't using
Okay.
like Itsui Super Ambroxan and 1872 fragrance because they didn't have that around back then.
Yeah.
Some things I can't use in particular, like, I can't use too much oak moss because it is severely like prohibited.
Yeah.
But I use as much of it. I use it to like the limit. So I try to bring all that back. And the second you smell these, and even just seeing the fragrance, the juice itself, you can see. I mean, 1882 is a fougere. It's a very aromatic fragrance and earthy. It's a green fragrance. It's a very deep, dark green because of all the oak moss, patchouli. It uses a lot of artemisia, tarragon, vetiver. So it's cool to be able to see that the amber floral has, tons of different resins in it. Opoponax, balsam of Peru, frankincense, myrrh. It smells vintagey, but that's just something I'm really excited to finally get going. I'm calling that my first official release because we're doing everything like the way a big brand would, getting marketing down, getting the packaging. Each box is gonna have artwork specific to the era that is coming out in. So I'm working with artists right now, and they're creating all those sleeves for it, and the label will be related to that as well. So it's a lot of work. The perfume was the easy part. The perfume's been done for like 6 months. Like it's been just sitting there, but it's everything else that takes a lot of time to get done, and working with all these manufacturers, just getting everybody on the same page. It's probably like 6 or 7 manufacturers, 3 or 4 artists, 2 designers, 2 photographers, all these different people that you have to try and get to like come together at the same time.
So you're saying your stuff is macerating all this time, and you're not going to charge extra for all this extra maceration?
It's going to be triple macerated or whatever the Absolute Ventus was at one time.
Yeah. No, it's the new batch of Reflection 45 that sat 3 months too long because we lost it in the supply chain. I did want to just say, I mean, Michael was showing us, Neil and I, kind of a sneak peek to this stuff. And let me just say, like, the packaging and all this stuff, this is completely next level. Like, 100% worth your time. Like, check this out. Like, this is he's downplaying it. I feel like based on what we saw, this stuff is fucking cool. Like, it looks awesome.
I mean, I really like the bottle choices you made, because like if anybody in here that is not part of either the Facebook community or the Instagram community for Michael, for the brand, you should check it out, because you get a lot of these sneak peeks of what the brand is coming up with, and he gets a lot of the people's feedback in the groups too, because he's really interested in seeing what you guys us feel about the product. Because I mean, if we don't like it in the group, how is he going to be able to sell it to other people? So it's smart to work with the community itself.
I mean, I love it being able to include. I mean, I got into perfumery also because I wanted to educate the population, the world, really on what perfumery is. It's such a secretive world. So that was my first intention, was to, be a part of the Facebook groups and to tell people, again, like these Roja fragrances, why are you spending $3,500 on it when there's, nothing worth anywhere close to that in it? And, people don't know. So I wanted to try and do that. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm peeling the layers back of the industry to show people who are at least interested in fragrance world in general, what it's like to be on this side of it. I show my failures, I show my successes. I hope that I also can encourage people to follow their dreams and what they want to do, because that's exactly what I've done. I just worked my ass off to get to where I am. And, when I first started, I didn't have the intention of starting a brand. So it's kind of just like a really surreal thing, but you just have to work hard in it. And I post a lot of my own formulas. So if you're a perfumer that is,
I've seen you posting accords and whatnot of like the stack up of like X amount of grams of this, and here's your accord.
Yeah, so, I started doing full formulas. Like I put the formula for Oud is my love language on my Instagram. You could go make it yourself, but I mean, get all the materials. That's going to be kind of an expensive thing, but you could literally just make it yourself. I'm not about keeping secrets. I'm about trying to show people what real perfumery is, and not give in to, again, these niche and designer brands who say, oh, we have this, we have that, when really it's not. I mean, I don't know. It's, again, I just feel like I'm jaded now. I just have like a vendetta against like the modern industry. Oh, man. I focus on myself. I have visors, and I just keep looking forward. just keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, that's really cool. I mean, I appreciate hearing that, and I
Yeah.
feel like I'm definitely going to go back to these. And it's not that I didn't appreciate them before, but I feel like it's going to come into a whole new light after hearing the backstory and all this stuff. And I feel like it's going to
I tell
click.
people to be patient with my fragrances.
Absolutely.
Because they are quite complex. They're not like they're not a mass appealing thing. It's not meant to be something where you spray it, you love it, you hate it. No, like you can take your time with it, get to know it. I mean, I had a fragrance, Chypre Oud, and some guy bought it, and like the next week he messaged me, he cussed me out, he told me I'm like a POS, like just all this stuff. I never responded.
I think I know that guy.
It was Neil.
No, different guy.
But then
another one of his friends.
I got an email, and it's that guy. He's like, "Hey, I'm really sorry." He's like, I might have overreacted. He's like, "This is my new favorite fragrance," and like he bought a second bottle. And I'm like, I'm like, this is fine, just take your time with it. And that's why I tell people to sample. And that's what I try to do with the discovery sets. It's 3 mLs of each. That's more than enough. Like that will last. You don't need to buy a full bottle. Like 3 mLs is a lot. It should be about 1.5 to 2 is what most companies give.
Yeah, right.
But I want people to have the time to get to know the fragrance and get to feel it and to understand it and not call it something that it's not, like some people do on their previous YouTube live reviews that they did. Talking about you.
Zing!
How many sprays is too many sprays, Michael?
There's no such thing. It's whatever to your heart.
I like that answer. I read the other day. I just share this real quick. I know we want to keep it on, but someone wrote when one, you're really into this. When one too many sprays is not enough sprays. It was like that's perfect. Like I completely resonate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a 10 mil decant last week, and I wore it at work. Yeah, it's like a citrus, freshy, whatever. It kind of smells like Zerzhoff Renaissance. Is Boys 1920 Scores of Forzo is the fragrance. Mm-hmm. And I sent Neil a picture. Like, it's nice. And I was like, I think I sprayed a lot. He's like, holy shit. Like, you're an oversprayer when you have 5 mil at your decant left after one wearing. I was like, oh boy.
I think it might work. It's all preference. I tell people I'm a selfish perfume consumer. I don't care if somebody else likes it or not. If I like it, I'm going to wear the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And, I had a girlfriend, she hated something. I don't give a fuck. I like the way it smells. It makes me feel better. So I wear it for a much different reason than other people. But there's also a lot of other selfish people out there who wear it for themselves. I mean, I'm not looking to get compliments. I don't care. I mean, they happen sometimes, but I'm not looking to constantly get compliments on everything that I wear. I don't care. That's not why I wear them.
That's kind of like my philosophy.
Agreed.
Like I wear things for me. The only part that, like, when I wear something and I can't smell it, that's when there's a problem. Because it's like, I'm wearing it for me. So if I can't smell it, then why am I going to wear it? Because
and that's another thing that kind of got me when I started making perfumes. I wanted to make fragrances that last because I hated buying a niche perfume that was like, over $200-$300 and it lasted like an hour. It pissed me off so much. So I formulate my fragrances with the intention of them lasting a good amount of time. Projection I never really cared for because I felt like that was more along the lines of getting compliments, having other people smell it. I don't care. If I got to put my arm up to my, my arm up to my nose to smell it, then so be it. But I really don't care about having a 6 foot by 6 foot radius around me smelling like that. I really don't care.
Not filling up a room.
That's just me though. I mean, but I try to create things that last and are unique and are quality. And that's really all I've tried to focus on this whole time.
Yeah. No, I completely resonate with that. I think, honestly, anyone in this chat, I don't think there's anyone that their primary intention with wearing fragrances is to find the next panty dropper or the thing that's the compliment piece. Like, we like this because it's a form of artistry and self-expression, and it's literally art. And I think your brand shows that really well. So, I mean, we're super happy to have you on. Thank you again for that. But
I
completely resonate with what you're saying.
I mean, but like, Zoologist was one of the first brands that I tried that kind of gave me the idea of I want to try it kind of like myself. Everything they do.
He's somewhere right behind me.
Yeah, I mean, just what he does, and the owner of
Victor Wong, right?
Victor Wong. He's actually mentored me through a lot of things for myself, my own brand. He's a really cool. So, I mean, it's really cool to have like, this brand inspired me. Now I'm actually talking to the person who created it and he's helping me out. Like, I don't know. It's been a really cool experience, but
that sounds awesome.
That's kind of what
leads
got
into
me
a question.
started.
A question I wanted to ask you was just like, is there any advice you would give somebody in perfumery that you wish you had when you first kind of started?
My classes. I started offering online classes for beginners just because there was a lot of stuff that wasn't available for me when I started doing it. I learned a lot of stuff on my own. I tell people I hit the floor running. I mean, I just bought materials, started reading about them. And, there wasn't much quality material on places like, YouTube. I never read any books about it. I tried reading some books about it, but they really didn't make any sense to me. And it just didn't work for me to read the book. So I'm more of like a hands-on person. So the beginner class that I have really kind of spells it all out for you. It's literally, it gives you basically like a shopping list of everything you need and how to do it. So it's like I've done maybe 3 classes so far. I've probably had about 20 students in total. And, it's from varying degrees. One guy was in there. He'd been doing perfumery, he said, for about 15 years. And he said, after my class, he finally gets it. Like, I don't know.
That's awesome.
Years, but
I had that click.
Yeah, but I mean,
Roja?
I heard from somebody.
I think that's been around 15 years, actually.
I don't remember who, but some guy said that one of my students actually started his own brand now. I forgot what the name of it is, but I've been meaning to get in contact.
That's really cool.
Just to see how it's going. I mean, I'm not going to do it. I mean,
so do you outline like, essential oil kit or something, like where to procure that at and all that sort of thing?
So I give a breakdown of like what supplies and materials I use, what aroma chemicals and natural materials to start with, how to study them, because that's the backbone of learning perfumery is the materials. You can't make perfume if you don't know how to use them and what they are. You have to learn their function and their smell and all that stuff. So that's like the beginner class. I give you a list of what I would suggest you use. I don't say you have to use these. I mean, you buy whatever wants your money. These are the ones that I use most often, and this is how you study them, and that's how you'll begin to learn. So it's a jumping off point. And then I did 1 intermediate class so far, and in the intermediate class, we start creating accords. We start conceptualizing. So we do what I call conceptualizing and theorizing a formula of a whole fragrance. So I go through and I make the class. All participate and we all create a fragrance theoretically together. So I help them understand my process at least. And it's not that they have to do that process, but it's the only way I know how to do it. It's the way I taught myself how to do it. It's all these years of trial and error. So, I mean, hopefully, people will take that idea and make it their own. There's really no right or wrong way of learning about it, figuring it out. I mean, what is it? There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, which I've never done once before, so I'm really not sure how that works. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to bake bread, so that's something I can understand. But I put those out there specifically for that reason, because I feel like there wasn't a lot of good stuff out there. So
where can we find more information about that?
It'll be on my website, but right now I don't have any available. It will be available through the website. But I probably won't do any more till closer to the end of the year, just because I really don't have much time.
You're a busy guy.
It's a lot of work going on. It's just a lot of stuff. I love doing it, and I hope to make it more of a long-term continual thing. Yeah. But right now, I need to focus on getting this vintage collection done and out. And then once that kind of is on autopilot, then I'm going to start kind of looking back into other stuff, because I'm also starting a second brand. So I don't know if I'll even have time then to do it.
Wow. Have you shared that anywhere? I haven't heard that.
I started, it was just kind of like a concept. I have 3 fragrances like idealized already and kind of started. It's called Mythic Parfums. So I've always been really into mythology. So it's fragrances based around mythological, like things, people, places, ideas. Yeah. So the first 3, I'm going to do them at 3 at a time, and they're not going to be IFRA compliant. This is kind of like what I call my passion project. Like I just make whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want, because my stuff that I make now goes through retail, has to follow strict law to be able to do all that. Yeah. So this is kind of like just something for me to do on the side for fun. Mm-hmm. It'll be 1 batch fragrance, and then that's it. So I'm going to release them 3 at a time. So I have Heracles, I have Aries, and I have Yinglong. So Heracles is about his 12 labors. So it's like really joyous and bright in the beginning, then it becomes really dark and mysterious, and then it just kind of comes like really just like at the end of it. Aries is the god of war. It's Ares, so not the sign.
Yeah.
It's a different kind. I think it's pronounced Aries still. But that is like, he's like the god of people who love going to war and killing people. They're literally like bloodthirsty.
Okay.
So there's like, it's like crazy fragrance like that. It has like rum and blood literally in it. Not real blood, but like the note of blood, like a metallic kind of blood.
Yeah, the metal.
And then Yinglong is the Chinese dragon god of the river and the water. So it's like a really aquatic kind of like Asian Oriental kind of fragrance.
That one sounds cool. To
Yeah,
me.
that sounds really good too.
So it originally was going to be all natural, but after trying it a few times, I'm like, this just, I can't get it again because there's a lot of things that are just muted with it. So I still will use a lot of naturals. It'll be basically like my standard line now, my brand now, but it will have a lot more. So like oak moss, it'll have more than it's allowed to. But the thing is that I will have I'll have it listed. So like, for instance, oak moss, you're only allowed 0.1% in your finished product. I won't do it like 10% because it can cause a lot of issues. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but if I use 0.2 or 0.25, I'm going to list that on there. So that's what I feel like should happen instead of banning materials. We should
listed allergen.
Yeah.
We should educate the consumers and give them the choice if they want to have those.
Well, it's just like within food, because I mean you have that background of food, and anybody who works in food, we just say, hey, this is what's in the product. It's up to you not to eat the product, not to consume it if you know you're allergic to this.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen on like a bag of food, it says this has been processed in a facility that cover, tree nuts or something.
Yeah.
Like
but
everything.
I mean, most things in perfumery are, it's called photosensitivity or dermal sensitization. So, it won't kill you. I mean, but, nobody wants to have a rash, or be itchy. Obviously, some things like, oak moss has atronol in it, which can cause liver damage. There's other things that have been banned that, can cause cancer and other things. So, I get it. Most of the time I understand. But at the same time, what was it? I think it was Lilial or Lyrol. It was prohibited. Like 1 in every million mice had a little rash. So automatically don't get to use it anymore. So it's like, okay, so, at least give the people the education to be able to decide if they want to wear it or not. And, even so with my fragrances, while they are IFRA compliant, you still may have a reaction to it with the natural materials because everybody's skin is different. So I always encourage patch testing. So just put a little bit on your back of your hand just to ensure if you have allergies of other things and you are somebody that is sensitive to things, even though it is compliant, still try it yourself because you may be different, even though it is compliant. So, I mean,
it's just a risk management thing, right? Like they're just trying to do the due diligence. It doesn't mean that it's going to be completely airproof.
They allow cigarettes and alcohol, but perfume, what
That's
health
where we draw the line.
Perfume, no, you can smoke yourself to death all you want and drink your liver to death, but don't you dare smell good and get a rash.
It's kind of interesting because it kind of draws the line of like the De Beards and controlling the diamond industry. And how the IFA is trying to control like the fragrance industry, so that way it pushes it to these corporations that they're probably the major backers of the IFA4, and they're trying to push them to these major corporations to buy their chemicals. So that way now you can't have Lilinol. You have to find a new Lilinol. What are you going to have? Oh, well, Fermique has this, and you have to buy this version.
I have a monopoly on it.
That's what those captives are usually. The captives are the ones that are like, oh, only we have this available. You can't make this, or you can't have this.
Yeah.
So I mean, but on the whole thing about the investors, there's really only 4 or 5 companies that own all the fragrances in like the mainstream. So like you go to like say Macy's, for instance, you'll see Marc Jacobs, you'll see Versace, JPG, all those things, they're owned by mostly Estee Lauder, which is one company. So even though they're different brands, they're
Estee
owned by
Lauder, LVMH,
Coty, L'Oreal.
Oh,
Yeah, they're the
yeah.
ones that pretty much own everything. So it's
Yeah.
like they have such a monopoly, I feel like, on the industry in general. And that's why it pisses me off. Because these people are just making money. I mean, Tom Ford sold his fragrance line to Estee Lauder for about $4 billion last year or 2 years
Is that
ago.
it?
Yeah, it's not very much.
Double
But
change.
What Frederick Mall just did the same thing, right?
yeah, they just sold. It's a smaller conglomerate. It's not like L'Oreal or Coty or Estee Lauder. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, they sold to a conglomerate. I mean, I always tell myself, like, what if somebody called me and says, "Hey, I want to buy your company." What would a number be that I would say? I would say, like, give me like 10 million. And then, thinking about it, that's not very much money when it comes to like starting and doing a
Especially
business.
Zen.
Like it's not that much. So I don't know, it's like 100 million. I was like, that sounds like too much. So I don't know, like it's weird to
Well,
think. If somebody came to me though and said, "Hey, I'll give you $100 million for your business," I'd be like, "All right, bye guys."
Well, that's the thing. I see
Part of
a
my
lot
line.
of times I'll see that. You'll see perfumers build a brand,
Mhm.
sell the brand, then make another brand.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I
that
do. Is I would
brand.
just use that money to start a new brand.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. And keep doing that process of, hey, I don't care. I'll make these fragrances and then I'll start a new brand and make some more new fragrances. And then I will keep my trend of making what I want. Just you want to buy what I made before and own that. I don't care. What am I going to take this in my grave? No,
Yeah.
just here you go. And I'll keep doing what I want to do. My passion of working with more different materials or working on different passion projects and stuff like that. It's like
I mean,
what
that's
you're
kind of the
doing.
hard thing right now, though, about like investors. I don't have any investors. I've invested everything myself. Everything that I make gets put back into the business. I don't have like $100,000 loans. I don't have $1 million conglomerates. So, but that also, it makes it hard for me to do things, but it also continually gives me the freedom to do whatever the hell I want. I can make fragrances called "Are We Fucking or What?" if I want to. I can do whatever I want. If I had these investors, though, these conglomerates, I would have to talk with them and get an okay and have meetings about it. So it's like, do I really, what is worth it for me at that time? Right now, I don't really need investors. Who doesn't want $100,000 or $1 million? But when you think about it in business wise, it's not, I don't really need that right now.
Yeah.
So it's like right now I'm okay with just doing what I'm doing. Maybe further down the line, because I need to start getting a warehouse. I'll need employees. I mean, I can't do this by myself forever. It's been 4 years and it's growing. So it's at some point, hopefully things need to grow. But I don't know. Right now I'm happy doing it by myself just for that very fact that I don't have to answer to anybody to do anything. I can do whatever the hell I want, whenever I want.
That's cool. I want to check in real quick. I see a question that I want to pop up here, but I want to make sure that you're still good for time because I know we're over an hour right now. So I want to make sure we're not putting you in a pinch.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
You got time for a couple more questions?
I just want to see Neil's reaction to smelling the
Yes, we want to do that
he's
too.
ever smelled.
Mo is asking when your classes do come back up. We said later this year. That's an online thing, right? Like a Zoom or
Correct.
Teams or something like that.
It's through Zoom. It's usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's a lot of stuff we cover, and I encourage people to participate and ask questions. So it's typically about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But yeah, it's all through Zoom. You'll just pay for the class on my website, and I'll email you everything. So it's just all online.
All right. All good, Mo. All right. So, yeah, we talked about this one earlier. And Neil, you want to show them what you got?
Got about a 1 ml of Oud is my love language that I happen to have just gotten. It doesn't smell at all because it has not been sprayed at all. So I have no idea what it smells
He's
like.
been salivating over this for about a week now.
Yes, it's been about a week, and I've been saving it for this live stream.
So the question is, are you putting it on skin?
Yeah, I'll put it right on skin.
Oh, okay. All right. Good man.
Right?
Inject it right up into your nose. Just don't even
Also,
waste
you know
it.
what?
Just
I'll
get right to the
also
point.
Spray right here if you don't mind.
I'll put it also on strip as well. I can get a little bit of everything.
Every last drop.
Yeah, all of it.
The moment of truth.
Three
it's all
squares.
gone.
It's not ours, it's showers.
I mean, that's pretty true, especially on clothes. Good Lord, that stuff will probably last you about a week or two, even after a wash.
And I don't even need to bring it to my nose. Like it is like filling the air, and I'm not getting any like off the air. None of that's like skankiness really. It's just a really deep woodiness that I'm getting in the air. So.
Yeah, it has. So it opens with yuzu, lime, aldehydes, which gives it like that effervescence that you spoke about. A wild strawberry accord, which I kind of helped. I made to kind of like help tame a little bit of the woodiness. Rum, tobacco, and then some Omani frankincense, which is really cool. And then I think 4 or 5 different types of ouds that are in there.
That sounds awesome.
And honestly, I don't get any funkiness from it for myself. Like
Your nose is broken.
It's already broken. 3 sprays and I'm already dead. Yeah, it's like extremely just really rich wood.
Yeah. And I mean, I tried to make it as barnyard and skanky as I could, because I now like that aspect of oud. Like I said, like give me the skankiest, dirtiest thing you can think of, and I'll wear the shit out of it. Like I love that smell.
You a big blue cheese guy too, though?
I hate cheese. Like
give me the nastiest brie you got.
No, like I had a girlfriend. She used to drink kombucha. I'm like, you're just drinking liquid feet. Like it just smells like ass. Like that's not the same thing. I don't want to smell like ass. I want to smell like barnyard. Okay, there's a big difference.
Really, like I think this is for me, like off my skin. It's something that I feel that is not hard to be worn for me. Like I don't think I would be. Oh no, I'm going to be a menace to society if I try going into my job. And because I work at a retail space inside a hospital, and I would be like, if it was real oud forward stinky skankiness, I'd be like, oh, people would be like, what is that? What's that smell around this food? It smells like crap around here. But no, this does not at all off my skin or the paper for myself. Like,
I mean, I'm assuming you have experience with real oud then.
Yeah, like when I went to Scent Explore, somebody brought real, like actual whole pieces of wood of oud, and it was like, yeah, this stuff is pretty skanky.
Yeah,
but this is like, it's just like I said, like very deep woody smell. I can get the like the frankincense, like the smoky resinous aspect of them. It's just very nice wood fragrance.
Yeah, I mean, the oud is a magical material in itself, just because it's almost a fragrance by itself. I mean, that's why you wear it by itself most of the time. You'll see, people just dabbing it on their skin and just wearing that by itself. There's a lot of purists out there who are against people putting oud in perfume because they feel like they're ruining it. The oud is perfect as it is, and you're ruining it by putting in other things. I bought it. I can do whatever the hell I want with it. That's what I say. But I that's the thing as a perfumist, you learn to harness those aspects and those characteristics of these specific materials to make something else. I mean, I don't know. It adds a touch of complexity with an oud fragrance that you'll never find again through like the designer. Like Versace has oud noir or noir oud or something. There's nothing in there. It's probably
that's their clone of oud wood, right?
I don't know. I think it came out first before oud wood. Oud wood came out later. I think it came out like the early 90s, late 80s or early 90s, I believe.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different one though.
That dang Quentin Biche stealing the
But yeah, so I mean I'm glad you like it. I mean it sucks that I have to sell it for so much, but it cost me a lot to make. So
I'm having some serious FOMO over here.
Yeah, I definitely mentioned that to other people. I was like, have you seen this post he posted? He posted the recipe for it. He's probably not making much money at all, if anything, off that.
No, I mean, and again, it's not really for me, it's not profiteering. I do have to make some money because it is a business. I have to sustain, but I'm not looking to, again, charge $15,000 for like 2 ml of it. I'm trying to be as reasonable as possible with everything that I have. So, I mean, yeah, it's just wear it over a few days, or I guess one day, since you only have an ml.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I'm glad
not so much now.
Just unscrew it and dab a little bit on. Don't spray it.
Well, I had enough FOMO that I just spray it. Well, I have Tabac du Jour on this hand and Valentine on the other.
Yeah, Valentine was
Nice.
that was a really good one. That's a really fun one to make.
I think that's my favorite one.
Out of all of them,
It might be. My original order was Immortal Lust as my favorite, and then I like smelled it and I was like, I really like this. There's violet in this one? Valentine?
Valentine, yeah. So it's a violet white chocolate forward fragrance. It has cognac, raspberry, gardenia. It's got a lot of stuff going on, but it's violet and chocolate and musky kind of forward fragrance, or an iris. So violet and iris are kind of along the same lines. But yeah, so it's that, and then Tobacco du Jour is really just supposed to be like really sticky dry fruits with like tobacco.
Yeah,
and
I like both of them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're getting a lot of the quality stuff that you get there. And again, once you smell it, even if you don't like it or not, you can still tell this is going to be.
You can still have an appreciation for
but
the amount of work and the quality that went into it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you're not going to like it, you're like, wow, this smells much different than what you would get like at like a retail store.
And I didn't say this earlier, but something that's been burning in my brain is like the oxymoron that is mass appealing niche. Like, it's going to be divisive. You might not like it. It might not be for you, but that's part of its appeal. And keeping it to not be just the status quo bullshit. So, yeah.
I mean, but that's what's so great about perfumes. I would never tell anybody, oh, you're dumb. You like Versace. Oh, you suck. Like what you like. You like that $10 Adidas fragrance from the gas station. Like what you like. But just be informed and educated on what it actually is. I've never been a very niche snob myself. I mean, I have all of it. I can appreciate everything. Even if I don't like it, I can understand and appreciate what it is. Some stuff I won't buy just because I don't really care for it. Like Jean Paul Gaultier, I can't stand those bottles. Those are the most hideous bottles I've ever seen. I cannot do it. And like
Jean Paul Gaultier Ultra Mall.
I mean, the Bond Number 9 bottles, they're so just tacky. So like
they fall over really easily, by the way. Yeah. I have one, and oh my God.
I would never probably own those two fragrances just based off of that itself.
I kind of feel the same way about Bond Number 9. I feel like they're especially cheap for the price tag, especially at retail that they command. It's like, no. Like this to me, like $100 maybe sort of thing. Like, and that's kind of pushing it for some of them.
But I mean, it's all individual.
Different strokes, right? I mean,
that's what I mean. People are going crazy over these mind games. I really don't see much of the. I mean, it's just a glorified designer brand, is what I feel like. I haven't smelled anything and be like, wow, that's really unique and that's really quality. Like, that's really interesting. It's just another part of the same thing.
The most unique one that I've smelled from that brand it's called like Garde, and it's leather, iris, and like a popcorn accord. It's supposed to smell like a movie theater sort of thing, like, and you got, I don't know, call it Dior Homme Parfum or Intense or something on. I don't know, because it's kind of that powdery like fake iris, right? But yeah, I mean, I smell it and it's like, okay, like that's kind of cool, but like, no, would I pay $300 for it? Fuck no. Not even close. Are you kidding me? No.
I mean, real iris costs that, but you're not going to get that from someone like Dior.
I mean, it just goes to show you when they almost instantaneously showed up in like the big retail spaces. You should automatically know what's going on there.
They're at my Dillard's like half a mile from me, and I'm like,
I mean, it's a Neiman Marcus brand. It's not like their own thing. Like, they are Neiman Marcus's brand. Like, Neiman Marcus started their own fragrance brand, and that's what Mind Games is.
Is that true? Wow.
So it wasn't like some random place just come out of nowhere.
Is Bodicea the Victorious the same way then too? Because I know they have Neiman Marcus exclusives.
I don't know about that. Which one?
You haven't heard of BTV? Oh man.
Oh, Boadicea the Victorious.
Yeah, like Blue Sapphire and all those.
No, I know about those. Extremely overpriced. Yeah. I'm not too familiar with that brand, so I can't speak on it myself. But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it is. But I mean, it's all conglomerate owned. I mean, then you have brands like Creed that say they've been around since like the dinosaurs, who have no actual evidence saying.
Oh my God.
Doing those
some of my favorite memes are like, what's the correct time period Creed? Erwin Creed, is that the right one?
I don't know.
Olivier Creed climbed the highest mountains in Nepal to get this and to give him inspiration for Creed Himalaya, or they got the finest ambergris because they crawled up the whales. I love the show.
Yeah, don't get me started on Creed.
Like the super grandiose explanations of like, we have procured the finest material. It's literally what you do, but it's bullshit.
But I mean, like, I would probably crawl up a whale's ass if I could get some ambergris if I knew it was out there. But I mean, there are brands that have been around that long. Hubajan, Guerlain has been around. So modern perfumery started with leather gloves. Is pretty much where it all started, because these royalties would wear leather gloves when they're riding horses, and leather smells horrific because it's just like formaldehyde. So they would perfume and scent the gloves.
I unfortunately know what formaldehyde smells like. A bad internship. It smells like the smell of popcorn, but it's like in your nose, like very, very disgusting. It smells like burnt popcorn, like
not the good
in the form of hot sauce in your nose, like that intense. Terrible.
Well, that's where it started, is they would scent the gloves, and then they wanted that scent on themselves when they're not wearing the gloves. So that's kind of like where perfume kind of started, along with.
Did not know that.
So I mean, it's interesting. There are companies that did start around the late 1700s, early 1800s doing those things, but not all of them. Yeah. Definitely not all of them. But it's mostly due to pharmaceuticals and just people messing around with organic chemistry in general, learning all these different things. So it's really interesting.
Me too, Blaine.
I learned a lot too. I learned a lot about how people don't know. Yeah,
I completely agree with you, John.
Yeah, I was always suspicious of it just because, I don't know. I never really thought it was going to be anything big. But again, the people who enjoy it, enjoy what you want, spend your money on what you want. It's yours.
Just be informed. I don't know.
I don't go for things like that. Like, I feel like they're just, if Louis Vuitton's a glorified designer brand, then Mind Games is like 10 times more than like of that.
Yeah. But like, it's easy to like something when you had nothing at stake at it. Like, you are given the fragrance for free, and it's like, you can just appreciate the fragrance for what it is. But when you actually have to spend your hard-earned money to buy the fragrance, it's a different story. Like, I
mean, my thing is that yes, they smell good, sure, but that's about it. I mean, I would just spend my money on like Gucci Guilty or something instead, rather than buying that. Yeah. I mean, look at like I tried the Creeds like Queen of Silk and Carmina when they first came out. Yeah. I just thought to myself, man, these are so fucking boring. Like, this is just, what are they doing? Like, I don't know. It's nothing like I felt when I first tried like Green Irish Tweed or even Aventus or Aventus Cologne. These just seem.
What's your favorite Creed?
Probably Aventus Cologne and Aventus. I'm always going to be an Aventus boy, unfortunately. I'll probably get a lot of hate for that, but I don't give a fuck. I like it. Go fuck yourself.
What's your batch number? What's your batch code?
I used to do what's called Franken batches, I don't know, in the groups years ago. I used to procure decants from all these different batch codes, and I put them in like a huge, like 1 liter flacon, and then I would just, I had videos of it doing it. I actually have some of it still. I called it Batches O'Houlihan was the name of my friend.
Maybe spit my water.
I probably got like 10 ml left, and I've tried everything from the very first batch to like the most recent. I was able to get a decant of like 10E01, which is the very first batch of Aventus, and it was really interesting just to see the difference.
Patches O'Houlihan, that's a dodgeball reference, isn't it?
Yeah, Patches O'Houlihan was the guy that coached him.
Yeah,
it's kind of an interesting thought. Like, what brings up an interesting question, as I said. What is your feeling on that whole like batch thing? Do you think it's just a marketing maneuver by them that each batch is going to be
the triple age baths?
I mean, the triple age, I've told people, especially people who like sell it like, large quantities. I will buy a bottle of it if you tell me what the fuck triple aged means. Like, I don't even like the way it smells, but I'll buy it if you tell me. And they're like, it's just aged 3 times. I'm like, what does that mean though? I even tried reaching out to Creed themselves and asking. I never got a response. So it's like, what is triple age? I have no fucking clue. What was the question again? I lost.
The batch, like the batch.
The batches.
Batch variation and this
I
mythical.
I
like, oh
understand
my
the
God.
thought of process that could happen where it's like, yeah, maybe you can't get that exact same material. So
Think about like this,
won't
like
be able to
Liliol
have
and Lyrol. Those are probably the most commonly. Imagine if Ambroxan or Isoe Super got prohibited. The fragrance world would change.
Yeah.
So with Liliol and Lyrol now being gone, the fragrances have changed. I'm not really up to par with what the standards were in 2010 to, like now, other than like the last 4 years, because that's when I've been doing it. But I can imagine things are being banned all the time or prohibited. So I can see that there would be a difference in variation. Maybe they did use, something like real birch tar at some point, and then they switched to something else for, cost wise. It's really hard to say just because I can't say for sure because I don't work there and I don't know what their formulas are. So really it's all just speculation, but I can see how it could be different in variation. But how it varies that much within the last, from 2010 to 2019, that seems pretty bananas for it to vary that much. But again, I don't know what materials they're using because I don't work there and I don't know the formula, so I can't really say. But I can tell you that some of them I've smelled at least do smell different. It still has the same smell, but some aspects are enhanced over others. So like one's a little bit more pineapple-y, or like the 10EO1 was a very dark smoky fragrance, which was very interesting. So it's like, did somebody put that in the sample? I don't know, but probably not. I don't know anybody that cares that much about it, but it's really hard to tell. But I do believe in somewhat. And I think that they know now about that. They know that people are looking into batch codes and stuff. So that's why they probably started
playing into it as some marketing tag.
Or the Creed anniversary bottle, the black one that they keep
the 2020 version or 2016.
So I mean, I think they're just
2020.
They're just getting money and marketing off of that now that they know that people are doing that. I mean, people are asking. I mean, I'm going to have to start batch coding mine at some point because that's what they require most overseas, because that's production. They need to know everything. Yeah. So I was like, imagine if I had like a 1 or like a 2 etched on a bottle. They'd be like, oh, it's like, the vintage number 2 bottle or second.
I'm imagining a world where now like the resale prices of these, like run of the mill fragrances, because these aroma molecules are banned or whatever, there goes up exponentially. It's like the eBay resellers.
I mean, that's exactly what happens.
$300 for Dolce & Gabbana light blue. Like, here you go.
I mean, look at like Rivet Gauche or whatever from from Yves Saint Laurent. Look and see how much that costs. And like Kouros, like old Kouros.
Okay.
It's like $400 or $500, $800 depending on what it is. Like, and you can still get it now, but it's going to be different. But still, it's like it's all collectible at some point. I Google.
You have a fairly large vintage collection, don't you? I feel like I've seen that before.
Oh
like
yeah, I have about 45, 50 vintage fragrances spanning from 1920s and earlier to like the 90s and 80s. I actually just got was like an Aramis from like the 70s, which is just like any other Aramis smells, just pungent and overwhelming. A Calvin Klein Obsession original one. That was really interesting. That was pretty good. And like a Nina Ricci, what was it, L'air de Temps? It's funny because it's a clear fragrance, but I have a bottle, it's super dark. So it's interesting because the age of the fragrance and the materials, it created probably a shift base, which is an like methylphenolate mixing with like an alcohol. So it creates like that dark color. That's where like Creation E came in. That's why the fragrance looks like that. It's from a shift base. So it's interesting to see these fragrances. But I have Guerlain bottles from, like 1922, 23, I think.
Really?
I have a 19...
they smell okay?
I mean, I've never smelled...
That's 103 years old now. Like,
I mean, I've never smelled the original one back then because I'm not a time traveler. Yeah. But as far as I can smell, smell them, I think they still smell fine. I think they still smell good. Like Lero Blue, like I have a little sample set of Chanel from like the 40s. It's like 4 little tiny like dabber bottles. Mm-hmm. It has like Cuir de Russie, number 5, number 22, and I forgot what the other one was. But yeah, it's funny because they look almost empty, but that's because the alcohol evaporated. It's still the same thing. So
Right.
I just put perfumer's alcohol in it to fill it back up.
There you go.
What are you saying? Are you saying that those sell-by dates are not exactly
I don't have to throw this away after 36 months or 24 months?
Yeah.
By law, you have to put something, but in all honesty, fragrance will last as long as it can if you take care of it properly.
Yeah.
If you keep it in your car, in your bathroom, it's going to go bad.
Keep it in front of an open window on
Just keep
no
it in
air
your
conditioning.
Just keep it in your backyard in the sun. Let it tan. You know, it'll be
That's how it
fine.
macerates.
Don't get me started on macerating, please. Well, but you know, the thing is with modern perfumery or modern fragrances, they have UVA and UVB filters, they have antioxidants, and they also have preservatives. Yeah. So like BHT, you'll see on a fragrance called butylated hydroxytoluene. It's a preservative. They used to use it in food, but they found it super toxic. So now we're just allowed to have it in perfume. So not quite sure. But yeah, so with modern, I don't use any of those things. So like with my fragrances, they would definitely get destroyed, you know, like the citruses and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just do no nonsense. I at least try to.
All right. I want to be cognizant of your time. I want to do one more question. You want to do one more, Neil?
No, you can do the last one. It's cool.
Well, all right. Well, I don't want to. You got one in mind? I was going to do the 4-figure one. You know,
no, go with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a fun one. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of perfumery? 4 people.
Let's see. So Dominique Ropion was one of my favorites.
Okay.
Jean-Claude Elena is a pretty
good answer.
And then through now discovering the vintage fragrances, you know, Francois Coty was a huge pioneer of modern perfumery, and Jean Guerlain, which was they were like battling it out. So Coty and Guerlain, they were constantly like at each other. And their tips that they had kind of led to what we have now. So those are probably like my top 4, I'd say.
Awesome. Neil and I had that as a live stream topic, and I think we're still going to do that. But it was like the caveat of like, name your 4, and it can't be Alberto Marias.
I mean, there are so many out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many out there. You know, Dominique Ropion, you know, he's done a lot of very mainstream things. You know, he's done like Frederic Malle, all kinds of different stuff. But, you know, Carnal Flower from, you know, Frederic Malle was one of my favorites for a long time. Do I wear it?
Smell that one.
It's a very floral fragrance. I mean,
tuberose, right?
Carnal Flowers. Yeah, tuberose. Tuberose, coconut. I think there's a mint. I don't know, just something about it. Like when I smell it, it just made me feel good. I don't like to wear it, but I just like to smell it.
I'm very interested to smell that one because I have the scent memory of my mom used to do all these like floral arrangements. So we used to go to like these, like a florist wholesale store, and you would walk into like a walk-in cooler, and it has all these fresh cut flowers and just like that cooling smell with all the florals of everything. Yeah. I want something that brings me back to that. And I'm kind of hoping that does, but yeah, I mean, that's what I love about perfume. Like something that can evoke those scent memories and transport.
Well, it should evoke some sort of a feeling or a memory or an emotion, something.
That's what all of my favorite ones are. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get laid, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but yeah, I mean, I do appreciate the kind of work that they do. Christophe Laudermiel is another good one, just because I've had a lot of personal experience with him. He created Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce. He did Tom Ford Amber Absolute. He actually reached out to me a few years ago and talked to me, and I since joined his one of his committees called the Perfumery Code of Ethics. We're trying to battle what I talk about basically with marketing. You know, these companies use 0.001% of like a Rose Absolute just to be able to say it's in there. It has no effect. They're just putting it in there in that low amount to say that they did. Yeah. So he started a committee where we're starting to like battle those things against what they call the WPC, which is the World Perfumery Congress. So I'm going to be doing a project where we test, there's 10 other perfumers. We all test the different percentages of these materials, and we all put our information on like a graph. It's analyzed. Then we can go to the World Perfumery Congress and say, hey, if you're doing it 0.001%, it doesn't even smell like anything.
Noticeable.
So why are you allowed to do that? You should have to have at least, 1% or 0.1% to be able to say that that's in there, because nobody's going around and checking these things.
Yeah.
Like especially with concentration, you could say it could be like a 10% fragrance. You could say it's extra day. It doesn't matter. There's nobody saying, oh, it has to be this to this.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy. The whole like 0.1 grams or percentage, that's crazy because I think about like food. It's the flip side of that of like there can be up to X amount of percentage and you don't have to list it in the ingredients. Yeah. This is what's the bare minimum that we can get to say that we have this so that we can charge $75 more for this bottle. That's
it still is that fact. I mean, even if you're using something like, oak moss, you can only use 0.1%. If you use only a very small certain amount, if it's at that or below, I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, you don't have to list it. So there's things that, especially because a lot of these materials like rose naturally has things like citronellol, geraniol, eugenol. But if you have to list those because they are allergens, but if you have to have it tested to see how much is actually in it, because you can't say, oh, all rose absolutes have at least, let's say, 1% of eugenol in it. It doesn't work that way. Even from batch to batch of the absolute itself will be different. Mm-hmm. So it's really about trying to figure out how much of it is in there to be able to see what you're being what's being labeled on there. And they recently changed the regulations to now you have to put on so much more stuff on your labels. So for like this vintage collection, I pretty much had to put the whole fucking formula on the ingredient list because now they require all this stuff to be on there. And it has to be like, patchouli. It's not just patchouli. It's like, oh man, what is it? Pegalstrium, something like that oil. And that's what patchouli is. Or, ylang ylang is like Kanaga. Bergamot is citrus aurantium, like peel oil. So it's all those different things that you're constantly having to learn. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's madness.
I had a full turn ADHD moment. I remembered my aroma molecule question when you were talking about that. So all right. Trigger warning. Aaron Terrence Hughes, he does his little perfumer reviews, and it's always, he's got his buzzwords. This is based upon Hedione and ICE Super and all this stuff. How, as a trained nose, you said that's, the basis of understanding how the function and the feel and all of that. How are you able to discern between something that's an aroma molecule or those things that are popping up as like they're present in a natural substance? How do you tell the difference?
You mean like smelling it individually or smelling it?
Yeah, so like if someone does a blind, I pull this out because I got it. They say, oh, it's got, saffron and this, but they're listing the aroma molecules. How can you tell that, like, how can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? Does my question make sense there? Like,
yeah,
so start listing off all the aroma molecules, which has the perception that it's like, oh, well, they're just using a shit ton of aroma molecules. Mm-hmm. How can you tell if it's different and it's naturals with the supplementation of aroma molecules? Does that make sense?
I mean, for one, it's guessing again, because I don't know what goes into those fragrances. I don't really know, but I know the pricing of what they cost. I know what they look like in the fragrance. I mean, again, if it's clear, it doesn't have it. If it looks dark like this, okay, it maybe does. Yeah. But that's not always a telltale sign. Just because it's darker, something doesn't mean it does.
Yeah, it can be dark.
It's the feel and the smell of it. I mean, if you smelled a ton, like think about this. You know what runts are? Those candies, those hard candies. Just think of think of like a strawberry bubble gum, right? Like a strawberry flavored candy, and then eat a real strawberry. You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
I know what real saffron might smell like or taste like. You know what roses smell like. So when you're smelling these kinds of perfumes, you can tell most of the time when you're smelling something because natural materials are very complex. Yeah. Like rose, for instance, has 500 naturally occurring aroma chemicals that create the one singular smell. So is a perfumer sitting there with 500 materials creating an accord? No. They usually take the basic highest percentage of things, which is like citronellol, geraniol, and phenylethyl alcohol, and they'll just use something like that to create the rose fragrance.
Yeah, that's something like from culinary standpoint, when people, this smells like ginger, and I'm like, this smells nothing like ginger, like actual ginger. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, but perfume's all about perception.
Yeah.
When people list notes on the note breakdown, that doesn't mean that those things are in there. That's just what they want you to perceive. I have a firm belief that if you want to smell a certain note in a perfume, you can find it. Whatever perfume it is, just because everything in there is so kind of ambiguous, the like description is what leads you to smell those things.
It's its own form of marketing, right?
That's why, like, when you see people start to read off the ingredients off of what, like, oh, this has got.
That's my biggest pet peeve.
I could smell the rose. I could smell, like, and they're reading it off like as soon as they. It's like Inception, basically.
It's so obvious when they do it. Oh man, and this one you get the pink.
I mean,
pepper,
but then look at brands like Spirit of Dubai. They have like 60 notes in some of their fragrance breakdowns. I'm like, what am I even supposed to be smelling here at this point? Like, what is even happening?
You say Fragrance Dubai or Rose de Dove?
No, Spirit of Dubai.
I haven't smelled it as well too.
Yeah, Rose has got the.
Well, they got a lot, but no, literally look at Spirit of Dubai. They will have 60 sometimes materials or notes listed in their breakdowns. I mean, the top notes would be like 30 notes that they'll list just on the top notes. And it's everything from like citrus to spice to floral to resin to oud to coffee. Like, and then it's like, well, we got through all that. We haven't even reached the mid yet. It's a lot of stuff. It's just crazy. So
I'm not making this up. I just pulled this up.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, dried fruits and candied fruits. I would like to know how you can distinguish between those two when you're smelling the fragrance.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right. So I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. I want to be respectful of your time. I know we've gone over what we typically do, but I love having this conversation. It's been awesome. Maybe we do it again sometime. But yeah, this has been super informative, fun. I've enjoyed having this conversation as much as I have, absorbing some of this information, hopefully. So been awesome. I'm sure Neil feels the same way. I'm sure everyone in this 100%. Chat feels the same way. But thank you so much for your time. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun to, any opportunity I can get to talk about perfume, I'll do it. I mean, it's literally my life now. It's not just a hobby. It's literally everything I do. So, and again, educating people on it is always something I've enjoyed doing. So anytime I can talk about it and let people know any information, I'm always happy to. But thanks for having me on. I'm always happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to have another one in the future.
I was going to say, well, yeah, I mentioned it earlier. We have this little box that I'm almost done with what Neil sent me. And then we have some more regularly scheduled, what is this one Christine had? The secret shame of perfume collecting. Of what have you blind bought that you're like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. And you smell it and you're like, what the fuck?
What was
like 90% of my blind buys have been that.
Yeah. So we have some fun topics in mind. Maybe I'll if you want to be included, I'll shoot it over and then obviously join when you can. But I'd love to have you back on here. This is awesome. So
yeah, maybe for like the vintage collection, I can send you guys some stuff, and then we can do like a live
a decant swap thing. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Because I mean, listen, I talked about it. Like looking at the packaging, like I want to smell 1990.
Yeah,
that would have been so cool. I want to smell the Fougere one. Like
all of them.
It was awesome.
All of them.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I'll have to. Yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Michael, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Everyone that's in here still, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being really engaged. Sorry we couldn't keep up so much with the chat, but I obviously wanted to keep the attention pointed to our guests. So I appreciate you guys being in here, and we'll see you next week. Well, actually, no. Oh, we're going to be on a brief hiatus because I'm going out of town next week.
Well, enjoy.
I have to tell you. Yeah, Neil is finding this out for the first time too. I'm a bad host. I'm a bad YouTuber, but I'm still having fun. But anyway, we'll see you here shortly. Huh? Okay, maybe we do a stream next week. All right, Game Time Audible, guys. Do it live.
From wherever you are, you'll do it live.
But anyway, we'll see you guys so soon, and have a great night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.